back to the Podcast of Champions with David Peavy. Special guest, like I say all the time, but this one here is truly special to me. One of my brothers, one of my best friends in life for the past 5.5 to 6 years. People ask all the time how we have done what we have done at Duncanville, and I got to tell you and everybody else, what we have done doesn't happen without you being an integral part to our success, and I'll explain that a little bit more as we go. But before I get into it, I just want you to tell everybody who you are, your journey to get to where you are, and then we're going to have a lot of fun.
That's what's up. Appreciate you, Coach. Happy to be on the show. Who I am, Robert Purvey, born and raised South Houston, proud Texan. And I've been able to be in the Dallas area for the last 20-plus years. I'm doing youth and young adult ministry. So I've been pastoring in the community, executive pastor, character coach. I work with several schools in the area, and just been giving my life to the community, to God and God's people, and just loving them the way I think He loves us. And so that's been my life's work. I have 2 beautiful kids, twins, Layla and Jaden, that bust up in the school every now and then.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm excited to have a conversation. I don't want to talk too much, 'cause I know when we get started, we rocking and rolling. How long is the show?
We usually go about an hour.
Okay, yeah, we about an hour. We're gonna be just getting cooking in an hour.
That's it. Yeah, man, we always have a good time.
Yeah.
But it's always real.
Yeah.
It's always real from day one.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to start.
Okay, let's go.
So I get the job, I believe it's about April, and I get a call. First, one of my assistants, my first assistant, when I first took the job, mentioned something about Pastor Purvey. And at first, I was like, that don't even sound right. You know, I had never been in a program that had a spiritual leader or anything like that. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know that was legal. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever. And I didn't think much of it till I got a call from you. And you just said, hey, man, I would love to come by, chop it up with you. And I was very, very, very skeptical.
Yeah.
Very skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what? I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But you came in, sat in the office, and after it didn't take long.
Yeah.
Once we got to talking, I felt the vibe.
Yeah.
And then that conversation lasted probably a good 3 hours, like they always do. And man, I was like, this dude here is probably gonna be in my life for a cool minute. And you have been. And man, it's just crazy about some of the things you've done in the last 5.5 years without knowing when I needed you, okay? Knowing when I needed you personally. And then what I've seen you do is crazy. We'll be in the middle of practice. I'll look over, like, okay, Pastor Purvey's here. Oh, shoot, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, whatever day, you know, depending on the season, whatever day you come. And it's been cool where you've done this a couple times. You tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, man, I'm about to take so-and-so to the office. And I'm like, yeah, man, take this dude, and please don't bring him back. You know, please don't bring him back.
Yeah.
And the things you do and the things, how you know what to say, when to say, has been special. And man, I'm just rambling.
No, we good.
I'm just rambling, but I mean this. I mean this. So tell me, I'm just going to ask questions now.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to some specifics on what I'm talking about. What led you to do what you're doing now?
Man, I knew at 16, 17 years old that my life was called to teenagers. I just knew it. My little brother was killed by a drunk driver when I was 13. He was 9. And we both were Boys and Girls Club kids in Houston. And so growing up in the Boys and Girls Club, by the age of 16, 17, one of the coaches there gave me a job. So I'm working part-time there at the Boys and Girls Club and just fell in love with the work. Watching, he's gone on to glory now, but Coach Gaines, watching him he was my first Pop Warner coach. And just watching him, build the program and watching him at the Boys and Girls Club with the kids and everything. And then as I grew up, man, still in my life in high school. And so I just fell in love with the process of seeing adults, especially black men, pour into teenagers, and then seeing dudes from the hood who came and took refuge at the Boys and Girls Club to get away from the streets. My heart, I was like, I want to do this. And then when I really gave my life to God, and I brought my natural gifting in with my God-given purpose, I realized that the Lord was calling me to pour into students. That's my life's work. So since 17, and so I knew it. I tell kids all the time, I knew I wasn't called to be rich, but I was going to know a lot of rich people. And the Lord was going to put me in position to put people in position, right? And so that was it. And so when I became youth pastor at Antioch Fellowship Church in Dallas when I was 23. I was 23 years old, and I just remember sitting in my office, and I was bored. I'm like, this just being at church every day is boring. And so I'm like, how can I make an impact outside of just seeing kids on Wednesdays and Sundays? And so I said, you know what? I'm going to pick me 3 schools. And on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm going to be in the schools every day. So I went to Cedar Hill High School on Tuesday, went to Duncanville on Wednesday, and DeSoto on Thursday. Every week, that was my cadence, and I was there. In the hallways, I would help the clerks make copies and run them to teachers, and so I became a district mentor. So teachers would bring kids to me to talk to them in the middle of the day, and I'd be talking to teachers. I'd be in the break room talking to teachers. And what I realized was the ministry was in the schools. And I didn't have to come in saying I was pastor so-and-so. I was Robert Purvey, who happened to be a youth pastor at a local church that just served the schools. And so doing that, and so then I connected with FCA, with Danny Noah and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I remember him saying, hey, man, there's a chaplain. At the time they were called chaplains. Now they're character coach. But chaplain leaving Duncanville, and Coach Kathy Self Morgan needs a character coach. And I'm like, okay, that's beautiful. So when I start working with Coach Self. This is back in 2009 or 10. And work with her. And then on top, then the boys were going through some coaching changes then. And then once Coach Chisholm took over, I think after Coach McNeely left, it was a couple of coaches changes. And then I started working with Chisholm. So over the last decade, I've been with both programs. Okay. But it's just I'm gonna tell you, Coach, it's the locker room for me. Yeah. It's the locker and we'll get into some more conversation, but I gotta go here because this is what keeps me going, especially with Duncanville. I love all the schools I've ever helped. I mean, when coaches switch schools, some of them taking me with them, and I go in and talk. But Duncanville is like home, right? I've been a resident of the Duncanville area for years, and so Duncanville's locked. But the way your locker rooms are cultivated, it's just different. And so I go back to what I said earlier: seeing black men pour into young black men, and seeing how their lives turned and changed. Being in y'all's locker room reminds me of home. It reminds me of the strong black men that poured into me. So I just see how y'all don't just coach players, y'all build men. Yeah. And it's just, that's why you can't get rid of me, man. I ain't going nowhere.
No. You can't leave. For one, you're not allowed. Man, that's crazy that you're saying what you're saying, because I feel the same way about what you have done in our locker room. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, we can talk story about perfect timing. Mm-hmm. You know, I've told you this several times. Mm-hmm. You'll come and speak to the team, and we haven't spoken. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll just show up. It's your day to come in, and the message you give, and I'm looking at you like, how did you know? Like every word you said was exactly what we needed today, right now. And that's exactly what that kid needed. You know, we'll know that kid's going through something. We don't know what it is, but then you'll say it, and then boom, I'll look at the kid and it's like, man, it just hit. It just hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of what I've learned along the way, a lot of people who get the opportunity to go in the locker rooms are looking for a speaking engagement. They want an opportunity to speak or to talk or to have a platform, have a moment. But for me, like before I come into the gym or the school, I'm praying for everybody. Like, I'm like, Lord, what do you want me to say today? Whether it's to coach, to a player. And I have no idea what you're praying about, what you're talking about, or what's going on. I just believe that God gives me exactly what is needed for me not to shine, but for him to shine through me. And so it's literally that. Like, it's nothing crazy deep. It's literally, I pray for you guys. Like, Lord, what do you want me to say? And it happens where whatever I say, he's already spoken it to you. I'll make you laugh, because when you're in the church world, whenever like a preacher gets through preaching, if it's real good, the pastor that comes up afterwards got to get a little something in too, because his soul is stirred up. Yeah. And so when you get in your bag, that's how I know I didn't hit it out the park. Because sure. if I come here, if I say something, you'll come back behind me, you'll be like, okay, like Pastor Purvey said, and get all up in you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know you're a coach, but you know you got a little preacher in you too. But that ain't you know, that ain't my you know. I'm just saying.
You brought some things out of me, bro. Like, for real. It's crazy, man, because I'm not a very religious person. Okay, we've talked about that.
Yep.
I grew up Catholic and have certain feelings about the church and things I disagree with, and it just, you know, some things that just took me in a different path. But I do believe I'm spiritual. I'm a believer. I'm definitely a believer. But you have really shown me some things. And our conversations have given me, I guess, I would say more purpose in what I'm doing, and you know, giving me some intentionality. You know, I feel like what you just said, it's about more than this basketball stuff, and it always has been, but more so now. I'm always looking for what it is I can bring to these young men, but it has come, a lot of you has been part of why we do the things we do. And it started, you know, I told you, you've been with us from day one, but that first year, it's a lot like the year we're having right now. You know, it's a lot like the year we're having right now, and I knew, I saw where we are right now. I've been here before. Now, do I know what it's going to end up being? No, but I've seen what can happen. Right. But you basically talked me off the ledge that first year. When I think at the time we were probably 5 and 6. Yeah. It was rough. It was rough. We were 5 and 6 at the time, and we were at Mansfield High School. We had just lost in the what tournament?
It was a Whataburger. Not Whataburger.
No, that was the Mansfield tournament.
Yeah.
Spring Creek or barbecue. Yeah. And after the game, I met you up top, and you were just talking to people, and like it was nothing, and I was like distraught. And you saw me, you kind of grabbed me, what's up? I said, man, what the streets talking about? You said, what you talking about, coach? I said, no, man, what, like, for real? Like, go ahead, keep it 100 with me. Tell me what everybody's saying. And you still looked at me like, coach, who is saying? Yeah. I said, man, am I going to lose my job? And you kind of laughed. You chuckled. and while you chuckled, you kind of massaged my shoulder and said, hey, coach, don't nobody care about this right now. Yeah, man. Like, nobody cares about what you are right now. They care about what it is at the end. Yep. you got time. Now fix it.
Yeah.
you said now fix it.
Yeah.
But nobody's saying a word about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So that kind of talked me down.
Yeah.
And then I think you saw, okay, Peavy needs me right now. So you started coming around a little bit more. And we got to talking. And we figured out, and I say we, I get all the credit. But, you know, I got to give you yours for sure. You talked to me about the culture. And that's where it began. It's like right now, you're 5 and 6 because the culture's not rolling.
Yeah.
It's not there. What is the culture? And we had to just get intentional, figure it out, and decide what it was we were going to do. And with your help, we got that thing turned around within weeks.
Yeah.
So we went from 5 and 6 to 7 and 7, and then
It was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
Yeah, it was done deal.
It was a wrap. And then when we went to McDonald's, not to the McDonald's, to the Whataburger.
Yep.
And we rolled at the Whataburger, I think we all looked like, okay.
Yeah.
And I just remember winning the Whataburger, being, I think, 11 and 7, and getting we were ranked number 1 in the state for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, how?
How? Yeah.
How? We have 7 losses.
Right.
How?
Yeah.
And then it just,
Yeah.
the rest is history.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just like,
It was a buy-in though. Like, so people see the results and the box score. What people don't know is what you talk about, like behind the scenes. It was a complete buy-in to culture, character, like integrity. And like, it was one conversation you and I had, because you, when we talked, you like, you know, you told me I'm not a real religious person, but I'm a believer. Same thing you just said. But like, we start having just not good conversations. We start having more God conversations. And I never like force fed anything, right? But I was intentional about having conversations so you can see like God moving, right? You didn't have to be a high spiritual person for that, but you start seeing small ways, all right, something different. And if the Lord used me to be that difference, I'm just a vessel, right? And so things just started happening, and it started clicking. And I've told coaches this, just being in Duncanville's locker room, like, there is, when you find that it factor and everything clicks, it's not just talent, it's the heart. It's the heartbeat of the coaches, of the players, of the parents, and the culture. And it just happens, like, when that rhythm hits at the same time, it births something amazing when you don't have to be so concerned. Now, granted, every season came with its, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it came with its obstacles. But when you in rhythm, those obstacles turn into opportunities. Yeah. So you're not looking at it as an obstacle that's going to deter us or derail us. It's like, it's an opportunity. I remember right before COVID, something happened, and it was personal to talk about it, but we were like, we've been waiting on it. Remember? Because like we were like, okay, it's too good right now.
Yeah.
Some got to shake up. And it's like, okay, now we know. Okay, we good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This what we've been.
Yeah.
Let's jump over this.
Yeah. The culture is created to handle chaotic moments,
right,
because everybody's in rhythm.
Yeah.
And that it's just it's something special when hearts connect on every level. It's just something amazing.
So I'm gonna ask you, and then I'm gonna tell you my favorite. What has been in the last 5.5 years? What has been your favorite moment in our program?
It was state 2 years ago.
Okay.
Semifinal game. We are down at I forget how much we're down by at halftime.
13.
Down by 13 at halftime.
We were down 20.
Okay.
In the first half.
We go into the locker room, and we take that long walk. And man, state, at the Alamo Dome is crazy because the walk from the bench to the locker room is just long.
It's far.
And this time it just seemed even further than usual because of the type of first half we were having. And I remember being in the locker room, and I have your speeches on my phone because your speeches to those boys, I wish the world could hear them because it's amazing how you can see beyond the moment. Because I remember you saying, you think, we're not going to lose this game. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, I'm sitting over there like, oh, coach got more faith in the pastor right now because the way it's looking, with the way these boys playing right now. And I remember before we leave out the locker room, Davion Sykes came to the coaches and said, I forget what the wording was, but he said,
I'll remind you.
Okay, he said it was a call. He said, can we do this?
Right.
And he walks out, and you and the coach are like, I think he may make sense. You guys make the call based off of a referral from one of the players. Mm-hmm. We get to that second half, and we go 48-6? Was it
41? 40, we went on a 41-6
run. So I remember getting back to the bench, and I start praying because you know how I am. Whenever I get a chance to sit with y'all, I'm sitting behind y'all just praying the whole game. So sometimes I even miss what's happening in the game because I'm praying for attitudes and I'm praying for coaches, all that. And I remember just really going in. And when I look up, we're winning.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Coach CT, we were like, they didn't score. And that was that moment. And I remember going back home reading the newspaper online and going back and watching stuff on social media. I couldn't believe it. I was in the moment. I couldn't believe that just happened. So many moments, but that one,
that's one of my favorites.
Man, that's
one of my favorites.
That's crazy.
That's too easy though.
Which one?
That one's too easy. That one's too easy for it to be the favorite.
But it's like, I think I'm giving it from box score, outside looking in, but like,
no, I get it.
Which one?
No, I get it. No. So I'm a back up. So we're down 20 with 4 minutes to go in the first half, and those last 4 minutes, they scored 2 points.
Yep.
So I knew, okay, they're done. So we walked back to the locker room, and I remember looking at Coach Moore. He's freaking out. He's losing it.
That's D-Mo.
I look at Cosme, and he's losing it. I sit down, and I looked at everybody, and they thought I was about to lose my mind. And I'm thinking, what's that going to do?
Yeah.
First of all, the last 4 minutes is exactly
right.
And my point was to them is, what took so long? Okay, why did we have to do what we did? Why were the first 12 minutes the way they were?
Yeah.
Now, granted, Atascocita has something to do with that. But then I just said, just chill. We're good. We're not losing. I just hate that we keep doing this.
Right.
And it's like every year.
Yeah.
Find one of those.
Right.
And then, so this was Sykes did. So those last 4 minutes, we started going offense and defense.
Right. Okay.
We started subbing in for offense and defense. So, I said what I need to say at halftime, and Sykes said, hey, Coach, can we keep doing that? I said, doing what? Offense, defense. And I looked at Ford and CT because they make all the subs. And this is truth. I didn't tell them to start going offense, defense. Didn't tell them. They make the subs. I coach who's ever on the court. They started throwing guys on the court, and it was working. I'm like, okay, good call. Good call, coaches. And then I looked at them and said, hey, one, it came from a player.
Yeah.
When the player does it, it says it, then it's probably it's a lot better chance for it to work.
Right.
If it's not coming from the coach making them do it,
right.
It's what the players want. And when he said it, I said, hey, coaches, it's what they want. Let's give it to them.
Yeah.
And they scored 4 points
crazy.
the second half.
Crazy.
So for the last 20 minutes, we went on a 41-6 run. I've never seen that. I've never been a part of anything
crazy.
Like that. And at the state state tournament.
It was I still have it saved on my YouTube. It's on my YouTube playlist. I'm a preacher, so I get a whole sermon out of it. But that's not what I'm here for.
No, we're here for it all. We're here for it all,
man.
But I got to tell you, my favorite moment with you. We start the season off 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
We are at Thanksgiving Hoop Fest. We had just beaten Corona Centennial out of California, who ended up winning state that year in California. We had just beat them. And I remember coming off the court, there's some parents in our hallway, in the back hallway, looking mad, huddled up. When they were in different groups. So this parent is with her circle, and they're looking mad. I speak and, like, what is happening? Go in the locker room, and I got a bunch of mad kids. And I'm like, what is going on? What's happening right now? We're 5-0 against some really good teams. We have Ronnie and them, Sierra Canyon the next day. So I remember we came in the next morning, we watched film. And you called me and said, hey, Coach, what's the plan for today? I said, man, we got film at noon. He said, I'm on my way. You want watching film? We didn't watch 1 second of film. You talked to the boys for 2 hours.
I remember that now. Wow.
And there wasn't a dry eye in that locker room. Like, everybody was boo-hooing. We're 5-0.
Yeah.
And it was like everything just broke. You started talking, and you went to each kid, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Wow.
And then we went from the night before where we had a bunch of, it was like, what are we doing? We were really, really talented.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard from many, many, many old coaches, coaches that have been to every state tournament for the last 40 years. And they ended up saying that's the best high school team they've ever seen come out of Texas. That was the tallest team I've ever seen. We started in the state tournament that year. That was the year. That was the year. We started Anthony Black at the point, Davion Sykes at the 2, and Anthony Black is 6'8", Davion Sykes 6'6", Ashton Hardaway 6'7", Ron Holland 6'9", Cam Barnes 6'10".
Yep.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's insane. So we leave that and put on a show that night against Sierra Canyon. And
we owed them too from the American Airlines Center. We owed them that.
We got our lick back.
Yeah.
But that right there, I knew then how special we were gonna be. Once that happened in the locker room, and I've never ever been in a locker room full of grown teenagers.
Yeah.
Like these are they're very good high school basketball players.
Yeah.
Too cool to cry.
Yeah.
And the whole locker room.
Yeah.
Like coaches, players, and it was like nothing. I mean, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
But then I knew, okay, this right here is gonna be special.
Yeah.
This is gonna be special. So that right there was to me, that was the moment.
Wow.
That allowed us to go 41. Go on a 41-6 run months later.
And Coach, it's crazy whenever you're hearing other people's perspective, because when you're in the moment and you just like living on purpose, it's in those moments when I know y'all need me. You don't have to say I feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I just feel it, and I have no. It's not pre-planned. It's not thought through. It's like literally on my way, Lord, what you want me to do? What you want me to say? Like what they need, and I come into the moment. And he speaks through me and for me, right? And so hearing it triggers me, and like I would have never thought about that moment.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because when I'm in there with y'all, man, it's like I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, y'all take me to church.
Nah, I mean, I just think, I mean, you mentioned the kid's name.
Yeah.
And I'll mention it again. He wouldn't mind me saying it. He needed you that day.
Yeah.
That day in that locker room, he needed you. And
I remember that dude. He hugged me.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
like it started with him.
Yeah.
And just watching him go through what he was going through, and
Yeah.
nobody knew.
Yeah.
Nobody knew he was going through something. And then it was like, boom.
Man, you taking me back, Coach.
And think about the game he had that night. He acted a fool that night. Yeah.
Man, you took me back.
Yeah, yeah. So that right there, like, you don't know the impacts. I mean, not as much that you have had on, and we'll talk about it after our break.
Yeah.
But the impact you've had on the individuals, the team, and myself and the rest of the coaches. But this is a perfect time for us to take a little break, let our sponsors have their say.
Got to pay the bills.
Got to pay the bills around here. But we'll be right back. Welcome back. We finished off with some deep conversations.
Took me back.
Taking me back to memory lane. Man, we can go on and on.
Yeah.
The impact you've had on some of these individuals. A lot of people don't know. It's not just about Duncanville. I mean, you're in our program for sure, but we got kids all over, all over. Of course, AB with the Orlando Magic, Ron with the G League, Micah is at TCU, Zurich, SMU, Dame. I mean, there's our kids are all over the country, and I know that you still are in contact with several of them.
Yeah.
And I know personally what you have done for mine. DJ Peavy did not play at Duncanville, but you have played a big part in his growth since he moved here. Yeah. You are the first person that I connected him with. I don't know if you know that.
Wow.
Yeah. When he got here, he was looking for, he is a very spiritual
yeah.
young man.
He loved Jesus for real.
Oh, for sure. Very spiritual young man. And he's always looking to learn.
Yeah.
And I told him, okay, Pastor Purvey.
Yeah.
He's one you need to get with ASAP.
Yeah.
And he was skeptical, like, Dad, what you doing? Like, why are you pushing this man on me? But it's been great. Yeah. You know, what you have done for me and mine, and I appreciate that. You know, 6 years almost.
Yeah.
Both of us have gone through some things.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Both of us have gone through some things. And I really, besides, I've been at one other place for as long as I've been at Duncanville. But I wasn't where I needed to be in life. Yeah. Since getting here, I have learned what it is I need to be, or what I need to do to be successful. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't.
Yeah.
But meeting you made me know, okay, first of all, let's tighten this circle. I need to tighten my circle.
Yep.
Get your life right.
Yep.
And you started that for real. Like, you were the first one that I met outside of my staff. That and since then you've been my accountability person. Yep. You know, and I told you I know I called you one day and said, hey, man, look, I'm making some changes in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to answer my call,
Mm-hmm.
if I ever call, and check on me.
Yeah.
And you have been there.
Yeah.
And it's been crazy. It's like there's been times where I was like, bro, you probably need to reach out to Purv.
Yeah.
And then boom, there's my phone.
Yeah.
There's my phone.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you good?
Yeah.
Like, man, what
Yeah.
you doing, man? How
Yeah.
did you know?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
And you know I haven't been that for you, but hopefully, you know, I've been there somewhat, you know, in some times that you were struggling a little bit.
Man, you have no clue. And I remember coming to the school one day after the Lord had took me through a tough season in life, and I remember I talked to you, Ford, and it was Cosme, and then you and I had a conversation in your office. But man, I went through a tough time as a man, and I had no clue that getting close to you as a brother, seeing the decisions you made to be better, how that would inspire me to be better. And it taught me what accountability really is, right? That accountability is not just one way. Like, if you really holding each other accountable, it goes both ways, right? And there was just some things in me that I had to get right. And I'm like, all right, if Coach, who is not a super spiritual man, like, can do some things to get himself right personally and professionally in every way, I got to do some stuff for me too, right? And it was just the road to get from where I was to where I needed to be. Man, the way y'all stuck by me, I mean, because I had to take some time off from the school. I had to take some time away from the boys. And it was the beginning of the season. And I came back at state.
Right.
My first time seeing you guys was at state. That was the first time, you know, sitting in the bleachers at state, not behind the bench. But the way y'all privately walked me through and stood by me, man, say that's brotherhood. You know what I mean? So it's like that's when the moment for me, when it was no longer just being a character coach that happened to have a relationship with some other coaches. Now it was like we were brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because from that, there's some other coaches that saw how we walked with each other, and now I'm walking with them the same way. You know what I mean? It was crazy. I'm gonna tell you this. I won't say names, but I was at the school during Hoop Fest, and I was in the locker room after our girls team had just won.
Okay.
And I'm in the locker room with the team celebrating with them, and then after, when I'm on my way out, meet a young lady, and she says, "I know exactly who you are." She said, "Because my guy talks about you all the time." Like, he says, you know, and her guy's a coach. It's like he talks about, he said, that's when I need something, I go to him. Now, when we first started, you know, I wasn't as close to him. He was a coach, but, you know, I wasn't as close to him as I am now.
Right.
But just him embracing his walk with the Lord and him leaning on me is because of our relationship, right? Because I've been close to all the coaches, but when I come to the school, you and I, we'll be in the office. They'll be in another room. Yeah. They'll walk in and out, and we in there just talking about life.
Right.
And it's just crazy how you never know how some of the real things you talk about. And when you, like, for lack of better terms, like when you bleed out, how it encourages others. Because, like, never knew the conversations we would have and how we would talk. And when we in the locker room, we in the locker room. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm not pastor in your office, I'm Purvey.
Right.
And we talk like brothers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's just amazing to see that. So now, just as much of an inspiration as you said, I've been to you. Nah, man, you've been that and more to me, because my own personal friends didn't know how to really walk with me through that time. But man, y'all just being real men, y'all were there for me. So yeah, nah, y'all, I'm telling you, y'all can't lose me, man. Y'all stuck with me, bro.
Nah, we not. It's not gonna happen, like, for real.
Yeah.
I'm not planning on leaving or going anywhere, but no matter what,
yeah, man,
you ride.
Yeah,
you ride.
I'm in the car. I'm in the back seat,
in the back seat.
ready.
You might be right. You ride a shotgun. But man, like I said, we can go on, and we gonna keep it going.
Yeah.
Like, how do I do this without saying names? Man, I have seen you. You have. There's some young men that are doing some unbelievable things right now. Some unbelievable things right now that I know for sure would not be given the opportunities, because they wouldn't have made it out of my program if it weren't for you. We had parents that have come and talked to me and said, man, what do we need to do to get on Pastor Purvey's schedule? Like, it's Purvey.
Yeah.
It's Purvey. This is, I mean, look, like we understand. Call him.
Yeah.
Call him. And you being there for them changed everything. And we saw it. I mean, we saw it, and it's a process. You know, we know. For all of us. I mean, we're grown, and it's a process.
Yeah.
You're talking about kids.
Yeah.
Some with different maturity levels, but they wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't asked for help and started receiving help, they probably wouldn't have made it.
Right.
You know, because even they were going through their struggles, knowing, you know what, give him a little time.
Yeah.
Give him a little grace.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying.
Yeah.
He's working on some things. And tough decisions always need to be made, but having you there to be there for us and for these young men. And this is where I knew you were real. Like, I knew early you were real, but it just continues when, you know, you won't ever say it. You don't come in and, I just talked to such and such and such and such. But I was talking to Ron. Came into town after being, you know, he's gone to the G League, came in, and he mentioned it. Like, you know, I met with Pastor Purvey a couple times, you know. Like, really? Still talking. And, you know, he gave me a look like, you know I did.
Yeah.
You know, and if you know Ron, and a lot of people do, love that dude.
Yeah, man. I'm so proud of him.
He's one of those that I'm going to be in his life. He's going to be in mine. It's one of those, you ain't got no choice.
Yeah, none at all.
No choice. He's family.
Yeah.
But, so I talked to you about my blood kids, what you've done for AB, knowing what you're doing for Ron. And I just know a lot of these dudes, you know, knowing that you were there for them and continue to be, it's making them the men that they need to be.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I'm speaking to you as the father of some of them, and speaking for their parents. Man, it's, you know, we need, you know, more like you, but having you has been unbelievable.
Well, man, the African proverb says it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm just honored to be a part of the village. You know what I mean? And being around sports my whole life, but really my whole career, just seeing the need for athletes and their parents to have just a real presence, not somebody looking for a handout, not somebody looking to hold on in case they make it, like just to be a real presence, because every level has stress and tension of its own. So before a young athlete even gets to college, or if they have an opportunity to make it to the pros, there's the tension and the expectation of high school. And I just see how the expectation of the moment, sometimes from parents and coaches, can weigh on the kid. And parents and coaches are human. Yeah. And they have expectations of their own. A parent is expected to be a parent and to raise a good kid. A coach is expected to coach a team and win, especially at Duncanville, right? So my input and my presence was like, Lord, how can I be a calm? How can I be like an assurance? But also, like, how can I pour in? not just to the kid, but to these parents, right? So just like I'm close to some of these kids, they parents call me too.
Yeah.
And it's relationship, right? 'Cause I mean, and the cool part about it too is the church I served at for 14 years, one of the largest African American churches in Dallas. The way it's positioned, it was kids, families, cousins that were all in this area. You know, Lancaster, DeSoto, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, that whole area, everybody related, right? And they all converged at the church. So as the years went on, I'm always having several hundred kids at these schools, and so it mixed in, right, from the school and the church, and just building these relationships. But then, man, who knew? Like, I've been a sports fan my whole life. I am a sports fanatic, man. But like, seeing what the Lord has done with the ABs and the Rons, but like Davion Sykes and Eric Demings and Zurich and Evan and Cam Barnes, man, all these kids. And then that's just basketball. Right. And then the girls, Empress Davenport, Kiera Perry, they slipped my mind, two sisters, Faith and Hope. Faith and Hope. Then it was Deja, then Morgan Bolton, right. Like all these girls that come to the program. But then, like, I got family to me coaching at DeSoto. Yeah. So the crazy part about, like, when they were winning state, like, everybody know I'm Duncanville to the core, right? But like, just seeing them, and then it's the football kids too. Right. So one of my kids, Zach Orr, who is linebackers coach with the Ravens, like that. And then I remember one Sunday, I'm at the house and I'm sitting watching TV. It's 7 cats from one school playing on Sunday. And I know out of the 7, I know 5 of them personally. Yeah. So it's like just being around it. But for me, I've always just wanted to be a light. Always want to be a light. Yeah. Because I know the expectation of the world on young people is just, it's something that will squeeze the life out of them if you're not careful. So just to be there, to be God's presence and to be that calm, is just, it brings joy to me, man.
Yeah. Well, I can just tell you this, man. I've been coaching for a long time. Started coaching in '96. Had a good resume. I got the job at Duncanville, but I had never won a championship, not a state championship, till I got here. So it is not a coincidence. I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence that what we are doing is happening because of having what you have provided for us is so. I don't know how people can do it without. Now that we have, I don't know how it can be done without. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it can. Knowing what I know,
right,
and what has happened the last 5 years. It doesn't happen. The run we have made, and will continue to make. The way we have not just won, but the lives that we have helped change, and guided to what they are doing now. It has all been for a reason and very intentional. But didn't know. Until I mean, people don't know what they don't know.
Right, man. I got to go do the research and the stats on it. But if God has His way with AB going lottery, if Ron keeps doing what he's doing,
Ron's going
lottery. I don't know if there's any other school that would have back-to-back years of lottery picks to come out their school.
I don't know about public school.
Public school, that's what I'm saying. Of course,
I'm sure we can find something,
but I don't know. It'd be hard to find.
Be hard.
Lottery picks, not just draft.
Right.
To our top 5.
Right. Well, AB went 6. Ron should go top 5.
Yeah.
It's special.
Yeah. It's just
it's special.
And it's different.
It's different.
Literally.
And
yeah. But it's I say this, and I asked you before the show if we could be candid. You told me I could. Yeah. So I say this. The legacy that you will leave in Duncanville will go way beyond the court. Way beyond the court. But what you have done with this program, I have had this conversation with a couple of people, and I said, if you were a white male, they would have a statue of you in this city. And I just want to give you your kudos and your love and your honor for what you've done in this city, because it hadn't been done.
I appreciate.
You know what I mean? And and so I just know how this goes, man. I know how it goes, and how the country and how we're wired. It's just different. You being a black man doing what you're doing is it's different, right? And so, but I want you to know, man, keep pressing on. You have no clue on the seeds you've planted. I've been in the locker room. So the funny part about it is, whenever I would hear people in the community or see stuff on social media about whatever it may be, I would always laugh, because I'm like, I'm there in these conversations, and you have no clue, right? But I wish the world, and Britt does a good job of showcasing a little bit of what I'm about to say, but the world doesn't know the speeches you give from your heart and how it pierces through the tension and the bullheadedness and stubbornness of these young men, and what it produces is just different. It's not by chance that two of the words that our program stands on is culture and different, because it's our difference that makes that culture. And you talk about, through the whole part, we talk about the spiritual aspect, but when you mix God in with character and integrity, you just produce something great. And ESPN did do a 30 for 30. So I'm just saying, because when you strip this from its bare bones, it's just, you're not going to find it. It hadn't been seen. Yeah. And people don't know the inner workings. I know Britt got archive. If ESPN calls, tell them holler at Britt. I know she got everything. Because it's just people don't know that what you see is from a lot of prayer, a lot of togetherness, but more importantly, it's hard work.
A lot of hard work.
Hard work.
Yeah.
And hard work and heart work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Hard work and heart work, because heart work is hard work, but it's a blessing to those that put it in, right? Because a lot of people, and I don't know what coaches or players are going to watch this podcast, but hear my heart. A lot of people want the promised land, but they don't want to go through that process.
Right.
That process comes with a whole lot of sacrifice, and a lot of understanding, a lot of long nights, and a lot of together. So you got to be willing to pull yourself together and to pull the people with you together. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, a lot of coaches, they don't have it. They don't have enough patience with the process to pull themselves together personally and to pull their coaches together, because they may be in it for the wrong reason. Or whatever it may be. But if you could ever, any coach, any player listening or watching, if you could ever allow God to help you pull yourself together and give you the strength to where you can pull your people together, you will see something you haven't seen before, because then you're not in control anymore. He is. And that's what I've seen in this program. Man, the conversations we've had, I promise you, when you finally walked out of yourself and realized it was bigger than you, and David had to make some changes, bro, I've seen it. I've just seen it. Like I'm not saying you standing up in pulpits giving a sermon. What I am saying is you are a man who increased his faith in God and saw his family start changing, his professional life start changing. And you say it's not coincidence, or my presence is not by coincidence that once you started making changes, it just never stopped happening. Right. I promise you, man, like if you go back in time and look at it, the moment you made up your mind to say, okay, God, I'm gonna get more serious about me and my family, and you started getting better, bro, everything around you just started changing and getting better. So it's you keep doing what you're doing, And I'm gonna stay on you.
I know it. I don't have a chance. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice.
Bruh,
I was you around. but it's crazy, man. I'm listening to you. Man, we got another hour or so. It's everything that has happened. You told me, was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then when I went through some stuff last year, I remember our first conversation. I don't know if you remember this. You gave me a couple days. You gave me a couple days. So you called. You like, you good? And you just basically said, you done with all your crying? I said, yeah, man. He said, well, get over it.
Yep.
You know, like, it happened. And he said, you need to listen to me. Said, it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's what you told me. And I'm like, man, why would you tell me that? He said, man, he said, I'm your brother. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. You going through some stuff, but just know it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I'm here. And everything you said. And then we've had some real ones.
Yeah.
We've had some real ones.
Yeah.
But like, now what?
Yeah.
You know, now what? What's next?
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like, you know what, man, what's next is I'm going to keep this thing rolling.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to keep this thing
rolling.
Yeah. And, but man, look, we got to do this again.
And you let me know I'm here.
We got to do this again. And talking about inspiration, you doing your podcast.
Yeah.
At first, I'm like, Perv, come on, bro. You're doing too much.
You already got enough going on.
You're doing too much. What are you doing? Now it's like, so when somebody asks me would I be interested, man, if Perv can do it.
Come on, man.
And it looks fun.
Yeah.
Man, it's been great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad when I decided, yes, this is something I'm gonna do, you were first.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have you on here.
Yeah.
And now that we've been on here together, we got to do this again.
Hey, man, I'm here.
Love you, my
Love you too, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.